Hey, I'm Carlo Prusa.
I'm Mike Manning.
You're
watching Sand Shark Bytes.
And welcome back to Sand Shark Bytes. As always, I'm your host, Carlo Prusa, and I am now joined by everyone's favorite sports information director, Mike Manning. Mike, what's going on?
I thought it was Jeff Henson, who is everyone's favorite SID. A shout out to my old SID at Olivet College.
Okay.
I am
You look
donning
rather good today. This is a change.
Yeah, it's a nod to my predecessor, James Duffy.
There you go. So, Mike.
He's over at BA now. So.
Exactly. A lot to talk about, Mike. A lot of sports. And let's start off with soccer. Some very exciting news for soccer.
Yeah, it is. Headed to the playoffs now. Second year in a row. They missed the playoffs a couple years back, but they're back in now with the result the other day with SCAD dropping. So USCB going to head to Thomas University this weekend for women's soccer game. Time to be determined yet, but pay attention to the website. We'll get that out there as soon as they decide what time they want to do that. But congratulations to interim coach and the ladies on making the playoffs 2 years now in a row.
Of course. So, I mean, they've played some pretty good competition as of late. They had some issues against Georgia going at it in Southeastern, but they got the victory during their last game of the season. Let's talk about it, Mike.
Yeah, like you said, they had a couple of rough games in a row where they're playing some top 10 teams, top 20 teams. Southeastern, they went down to Southeastern, number 2 now in the country. Played a good defensive game, but trying to deal with the nation's leading goal scorer, Uchenna Kanu. Eventually wears anybody
good.
down. Yeah, she's the leading scorer across all divisions, men, women, doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So offensive threat always. And then they came back. They had to face number 12, Georgia Gwinnett, who came in. But then again, that's a non-conference game, and Coach Harris was doing some different things, especially in the second half. There's really no reason to risk any players in that scenario. So got everybody in, and everybody saw some time there. So that was a good thing for the ladies. And then a big game against Johnson and Wales.
For sure.
And took care of business with them. And then, as we said, this last week, SCAD dropped that game to Thomas University, and lo and behold, USCB soccer's in the playoffs.
Absolutely. You know, I'm really excited for this playoffs. I feel like this team is a team that can just explode. All of a sudden, you know, if they start getting hot and they start gaining some momentum, I think they can really take off.
It's really come on as of late. You talk about that. You've got Anna Ginlett, who's been playing
solid all season.
Fantastic in the last couple weeks, especially. And you expected that from her, being a junior now. She's had a couple years to get used to the game, but you see her now, her strength on the ball.
Absolutely. She's very comfortable.
She's been a lot stronger. She's created a lot of opportunities. In that game against Johnson and Wales, see the goal that she was able to create off the corner, slipped it across to the on-running Bailey White, who we'll have on later, to put that away. So Anna has been a pretty big key to this Sand Shark offense as of the last few games, as she's really kind of becoming her own and being a threat now up top.
For sure. Now let's make the transition from the field to the course. We've had both golf teams in action.
Yes, they've been busy.
Oh, yeah.
Their fall season's coming up on a close, but over the last couple weeks, they've been in some really good tournaments. The guys, for them, they were down at the TMU, which is Truett-McConnell University, from the Appalachian Conference. They went down to their preview, saw, again, Dalton State, one of the top 3 teams in the country. They saw them. They saw a couple Sun Conference opponents, but mostly the teams out of the Appalachian Athletic Conference that are ranked quite high in the NAIA polls. So they went down there. They ended up in 3rd at that tournament. Jacob Thomas, the newcomer out of Edmonton, he had a fantastic tournament. Came out really swinging well. Yeah. Shout out to the Canadian fan base there, but he's emerged as a leader, and Virapat Vasavanic
he's come out of nowhere this season.
He's had a really good start in this fall, so hopefully he can carry that over now.
Absolutely.
As the team gets ready to head into the spring where their championships are held. So they were there. The ladies, we talked about it in the last episode, they were out Oklahoma City, putting on a show out there, and then this week at the Terrier Intercollegiate.
Right.
We'll talk about that probably next episode. We'll see how they do.
For sure. I mean, those are two of my favorite teams at USCB. You know, I love the team chemistry. They have great team chemistry. They got some great players. They're fun, too. I love going out there and filming them. It's always some interesting characters on both sides.
Golf is an interesting sport in that you can sit and talk to people as they're going, not like a team sport where everyone's in practice and you pick and choose your moments. They're right there on the range. They'll talk to you and tell you what's going on in their lives. So a lot of fun to be out there with them out at Old Field, and we appreciate Old Field and allowing our teams to go out there and train nearly every day.
Of course. So last thing we need to touch upon here in our intro is Sandshark Invitational, the run.
Yeah, Sandshark Invitational, the cross-country team put on a show. Ended up being over 700 runners.
It's crazy.
It was insane. A lot of athletes out there, and it's a good time. That invitational has grown so exponentially over the last few years. This was the 12th annual, and they killed it. 40 teams on men, 40 teams on women, 700 runners, and again, USCB continuing to improve, continuing to drop their times. Matthew Self now for the men has dropped over a minute 20 now on his times. He's done fantastic this year. Cameron Taylor, a freshman, has shown up. Again, all underclassmen on the men's side, and they just continue to get better every day. And then on the women's, Janitza Trinidad, freshman from Puerto Rico, has done very well for USCB. She continues to be a leader even at her young age. And then you have the seniors coming in strong, the Lauren Dragonings, Hannah Johnson and Sierra McMahon, kind of mentoring the younger runners coming up for the women, and they continue to improve each and every time out there. So we're going to see what they do in the distance when it comes track and field season in the spring.
The one thing I think that's huge about that, as you said, they're all underclassmen. I mean, those have been the main contributors right now. USCB is going to have these runners for years to come. So, I mean, this program is just going to continue to be as strong and just as good, and that's wonderful.
Yeah, and they're getting ready to wrap up their season at the conference championships coming up this weekend. So be able to review that on our next show and catch up with those guys.
Of course. Now we're going to switch off a little bit. We're going to watch some highlights of the past USCB soccer games. Then when we come back, we're going to be doing an interview with Bailey White. You're watching Sandshark Bytes. Welcome back to Sandshark Bytes. Now we're joined by Bailey White. Bailey, how are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Yeah, she's a little nervous.
A little bit.
You can't blame her, Carlo, being on the air with a
yeah.
personality such as yourself, a big-time
I make myself nervous sometimes.
TV personality here in the Low Country. But thank you for joining us. It's a pleasure having you. So.
Thanks for having me.
All right, Bailey, let's start off. So you've had 3 goals so far this season. Just talk about your season so far. Are you happy with it? What were you trying to do coming into the season to make this happen?
Well, I wasn't really expecting to get as much playing time as I have, but I'm just glad I've gotten the opportunity to play as much, especially with my injury in the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. Since you were a newcomer coming into the season, you haven't really played with any of the girls before. Did that give you extra motivation to show everybody that, hey, you can start and you can hang with the other girls on the team?
Yeah, I just wanted to really just be able to play. That's all.
And you mentioned that Coach Harris, at the beginning of the year, you said you were injured. You're battling, still battling through that. And I remember having several conversations with him. He said, "Well, I can't wait to get Bailey healthy to the point where she can come in because you do offer that little bit burst of speed. You offer that up top, something that was missing kind of in the beginning of the year to have a complement to Anna Ginlat, who ended up getting the assist on that last goal." So he's always been expecting you to come in and do some things as far as that goes. Has that always been a part of your game to have that extra speed that makes you a little more dangerous?
Yeah, all my coaches have always just wanted me to just run with the ball, and I'm end up in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, and you've done a good job reading those kinds of plays. And take us through that last game, Johnson and Wales. We're a minute 15 in. Take us through that goal. It was a corner kick. Anna gets the ball. Take it from there.
So Anna just went up the line and she beat 2 defenders, and then she got to the end line and Jay was just yelling at me to get up there. So I just started running and then she crossed it and I was just in the right stride and the ball went in.
And Coach Harris just came through the set. Excited to have you. I know
he thinks he can do anything he wants. Oh, there he is.
So, hey, Coach Harris.
How you doing, Mike?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us.
You're more than
Somewhat.
welcome.
The impromptu visit from Coach Harris. So Bailey, you were right place, right time. You saw the picture that Mr. Bob Cragen captured of that moment, the pure ecstasy on your face after scoring the goal. So take us now, high school to college. What's the major difference for you?
The speed of the game, definitely. It's a lot faster in college, and the girls are a lot bigger.
Well, you're kind of a smaller person to begin with. And what about club play? How's that been? Is it any different for?
No, I feel like club was kind of the same transition-wise. Like the level is still there.
Mm-hmm. And going forward, what has to change for you to improve your college game?
I'd say my strength and to get fully healthy. That way I can play to the best of my ability.
So she has to hit the weight room. That's
Absolutely,
what I'm hearing. Yeah. Well, thank you very much, Bailey. We appreciate having you come on and talk to us a little bit. You're a freshman, so you've got 3 more years of doing this stuff on camera. So excited to have you around.
Thanks for having me.
No problem. All right, so now we're going to take a little break and we're going to look at some highlights from the Sandshark Invitational. And then when we come back, we're going to be with Matthew Self. You're watching Sandshark Bytes. Welcome back to Sandshark Bytes. We're now joined by Matthew Self. Thanks for joining us, man.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. So let's start off just by talking about the season so far. What are been your thoughts on it?
My season has dramatically changed from last year. I definitely put in a lot more work over the summer, and I've shown it in my times.
So this season, you guys got some great newcomers, guys like Cameron, guys like Tedros, that are absolute monsters in my opinion. Do they motivate you and do they make you better?
They do. We've got a phenomenal team this year. Them both being freshmen, that means we're going to have them for a long time, and they're only going to get better if they don't get injured. And so yeah, it's definitely motivated me throughout the year to want to hang with them and really get with them and with long runs and help them with workouts, help me with workouts, everything like that.
And that's had a pretty big impact on you. You've trying to hang with them. You've dropped what 220, 221 off of your time.
221. So I've put a lot of work in over the summer. The Coach Gaither and Coach T have been great this year with the workouts. They feel a lot better than last year's. And yeah.
Well, it's fantastic. And not only on the course are you doing all right, in the classroom,
Absolutely.
you're okay too
Oh,
in
yeah.
there, right?
Absolutely.
You guys are taking care of business. I mean, freshmen, sophomores, Carlo, it's insane to watch these guys work and to get better. So what do you guys now, how do you improve from here? What's the plan?
Just keep dropping fast times. We're looking forward to conference so we can get some really good times. We had a great meet in Queens up in North Carolina about 2 weeks ago where we all PR'd by about a minute. Wow. And it was fantastic to see everybody run that fast. We're just hoping we can do it again.
Right, and you mentioned cross-country championships for
Yeah.
the Sun Conference coming up, and that'll be tomorrow.
Yep.
What are you guys looking forward to?
It's feasible. I mean, we have a shot at it if we all put our A game there, and hopefully SCAD has a couple of people drop out or something like that.
Oh, SCAD's got an amazing team.
Yeah, they
we
do.
saw that at the Sand Shark Invitational, which is a big home event for you guys. 700 runners total.
Yeah, it's a great turnout.
What was it like? What's it like to run with that many people, starting off, you're all trying to get to the chute?
You know,
what is it like?
I was just thinking the same thing because the meet we had in Queens was about 550 runners, and I was like, how does it get bigger than this? And Sand Shark was bigger, and I was like, there's no way. But yeah, we managed to have a really good meet, and we all dropped some pretty good times.
You'll see on the clips that all these guys running at you. Like I don't know how you guys handle the intensity. Like one person falls and
you got to be real careful.
You see it on TV all the time. Man, people just start getting hurt. So glad you guys came out all right.
Yeah.
One of my favorite moments at the Sand Shark was the Florida A&M team.
Oh yeah.
Have you seen them before?
Yeah, I actually was talking to one of their runners. His name's Jacob. He's a phenomenal runner. He's a sophomore just like me, and he was dropping like 24:30s or something this year, which is insane. And they didn't even really race the meet because it was just too close for their conference to want to run fast at that meet, so they just kind of jogged it, and we were like, what are you guys doing? Like, come on, quit playing around with this.
This team comes up from Tallahassee. And
Yeah.
they literally jogged it, but it was so cool. You'll see the photo finish of them. They all come across, their hands out to the side like they're flying through the finish line. It was a great sight.
Yeah.
It was a great event. We really appreciate being out there and
Yeah.
letting you guys come out and film.
Absolutely.
Or letting us come out and film.
So Matt, last question for you, man. Now you're a sophomore. Do you feel that you've really made the adjustment from your freshman year to your sophomore year? Do you feel that you're more comfortable right now?
I really have. Coming in last year, I was not really used to the 8K because it's a 5K in high school and you jump to 8K, which is an extra 2 miles in the race, and you have no idea what to expect. Exactly. And I had no idea what to expect, and now I've got a lot better idea of how to run a race like that, and figured it out.
The strategy involved. Yeah. I know what would happen with an extra 2 miles for me.
Oh, you'd be done.
I don't think
Mike.
you and I'd be able to make it.
No, I'd be done after a mile. But all right, Matthew, thank you for joining us, man. We hope you and your team the best of luck going forward here. Now we're going to take a quick little break, and when we come back, we're going to wrap the show up. You're watching Sand Shark Bytes.
At the University of South Carolina, Beaufort, we offer small classes, individual attention, and an affordable education in an atmosphere that fosters diversity and achievement.
We are students.
We field 9 Sand Shark sports teams that compete in the Sun Conference.
We are athletes.
We are one university with 2 campuses serving the coastal areas of South Carolina and Georgia.
We are the Low Country.
We are the fastest growing 4-year school in the University of South Carolina system. We are USCB.
And welcome back to Sand Shark Bytes. And Mike, where does the time go? It just goes.
I don't know. Hopefully they don't want their time back.
Yeah, probably.
Another fantastic episode, Carlo. Had a couple great guests, and Matthew Self and Bailey White on today, and the cameo from Coach Jay Harris.
Yeah, that was pretty funny.
Coming up on the end of our fall season.
I know, it's crazy. We don't got too much more of these left, Mike.
We really don't. Just a couple more, I believe,
yeah.
As we look to wrap things up with soccer, see how they finish up. They got their playoff game here this weekend against Thomas University, heading down to Thomasville, Georgia. So we'll hopefully get Coach Harris on next week and kind of wrap things up there. And then on the course, men's and women's golf finishing up. So get coaches on, try to figure
Absolutely.
out what the teams need to do for their championships in the spring.
You know, both those teams, man, they're really geared up for the spring, man. That's when you get the championships and nationals. And, I mean, essentially, this semester's kind of like a practice round for them in a way.
Yeah,
but
it's a good preview. It's find out where they're at, what things they need to address.
I think they're about to blow up next year, though.
In the winter months, see what the athletes can do to come back ready to go. And like you said, in May, they'll have their championships.
Absolutely.
Hopefully we'll be right there in the mix.
And then lastly, some more cross country going on?
Cross country's away this weekend. They're finishing up their season. Cross country Sun Conference Championships down in Lakeland, in a beautiful park down there, set up specifically for running. So it's a great course, great for spectators and such. So looking forward to see how the guys finish up, the underclassmen. We had Matthew on talking about that. And then on the women's side, kind of the last cross-country race for Hannah Johnson and Sierra McMahon.
Yeah,
so
wow.
looking forward to see how they finish up for the women and go out on a good note, we hope.
Absolutely. So there's a lot going on, and Mike Manning has you covered. If you guys need any information on any USCB athletics, he'll have stories, videos, pictures, and you name it. He'll have everything you need.
Cover it like a blanket, Carlo.
There you go. Good reference. I like that. But until next time, until next time, for Mike Manning, I'm Carlo Perusa. Keep those fins up, everybody.
Hey, I'm Tony Hawk, and you're watching the County Channel.
Is that one of the black?
The County Channel is also available on video on demand. Go to bcgov.net, click on the County Channel logo, and select your program from the list. If you would like a DVD of this program, click DVD order form from the County Channel main page and fill out an order form.
Here's what's happening in Beaufort County.
We're here today to gather public input, to present our schedule, the process, and also just to get feedback from what the community wants to have involved in the project. The US 278 corridor from Squire Pope Road to Moss Creek, they include looking at the 4 bridge replacements, widening the different options.
Well, the DOT is here, and they've got their consultant team here, and the public is invited to provide input on the process with regards to the needs of 278, and it's just a public information gathering. So they've got some smart boards that they're using GIS information to help gather that information and kind of be able to zoom in on various aerial and images of the project area.
The NEPA process is the National Environmental Policy Act. It's mandated by the federal government where federal funds are used to basically go through and to go through the environmental process and find the least impactful alternative. Our next steps in our NEPA process will be to perform our technical field studies, as well as to start looking at alternatives, determining if the bridges are feasible to be widened, and then we'll present about a year and a half from now, we'll present the alternatives to the public.
Well, this is the first public meeting with the project. This is an environmental assessment that's underway, and the environmental assessment will usually take about 2.5 years. So this process will go on through spring of 2020.
I think it's probably just important for the entire area. Is, Hilton Head is such a tourist destination that restricting traffic impacts the economy, the way of life for people. They've spent so much time in traffic. To be able to improve that, as well as improve the bicycle facilities, looking at the environmental considerations for the area.
Well, 278 is a very busy corridor, and it's kind of the lifeblood for Hilton Head Island and for the economy and safety of the public. So, we've been experiencing significant growth over the last several years. In the last 4 years, we've had 8% growth out there. And so, looking at the trends, we need to identify what improvements are needed and how we're going best to address those.
I'm Craig Wynn, the SCB Project Manager. Thank you for coming out to the US 278 Corridor Project.
And that's what's happening in Beaufort County.
Lunar eclipses occur when the moon is in the opposite position of where it is located when a solar eclipse occurs. So lunar eclipses happen at night during a full moon, while solar eclipses happen during the day when we have a new moon. There are a lot more opportunities to see lunar eclipses than there are solar eclipses because everyone on the nighttime side of the Earth gets to see a lunar eclipse when it happens. A total lunar eclipse also lasts a lot longer than a total solar eclipse because the size of the Earth's shadow falling on the moon is comparatively much larger than the moon. During a solar eclipse, the moon's shadow, which blocks out the sun, is just about the exact same size as the sun, so totality is quite brief. In order for a lunar eclipse to occur, the moon must pass through the Earth's shadow. The shadow is made up of two cones. The outer cone is called the penumbra, and in the penumbra, only some of the light from the sun is blocked by the Earth. The inner cone is the umbra, which is the portion where all of the sun's light is blocked by the Earth. Penumbral lunar eclipses occur when the moon passes through the Earth's penumbral shadow. These types of eclipses are almost unnoticeable. And total lunar eclipses occur when the moon is completely obscured by the Earth's shadow.
We can use the same scale model that we use to demonstrate a solar eclipse to show how a lunar eclipse occurs. Except for in this case, the Earth is actually going to be in between the sun and the moon, and the lunar eclipse is going to happen at nighttime. So it's daytime on this side of the Earth, and on this side of the Earth is nighttime, and the sun is shining on the Earth, and the Earth's shadow is actually falling on the moon.
Lunar eclipses of some sort occur from 2 to 4 times per year. The reason we don't have a lunar eclipse every time there is a full moon is due to the fact that the moon does not orbit the Earth on the same plane as the Earth orbiting the sun. The moon's orbit is tilted about 5 degrees from the Earth's orbit around the sun, so those paths only cross a few times per year. Most of the time, the moon is slightly above or below the sun. In this demonstration, the distances are not to scale and the angle is exaggerated, but it makes it easier to visualize why eclipses do not occur every month. During a total lunar eclipse, the moon appears to be blood red. And that's because even though the Earth is blocking light from reaching the moon, some indirect light still shines on it. The sunlight that is able to reach the moon must first pass through the Earth's atmosphere, which refracts the light and scatters the blue wavelengths, leaving only the red and orange wavelengths to shine on the moon. If the Earth had no atmosphere, the moon would appear to be completely blacked out during totality. If there are a lot of particles in the Earth's atmosphere during the lunar eclipse, such as following a major volcanic eruption, the moon might appear to be nearly invisible.
Lunar eclipses are easy to view. Unlike a solar eclipse where you have to have special equipment in order to see it, you can view a lunar eclipse with the naked eye. And a pair of binoculars really enhance your experience. So next time one of these special astronomical events occurs, take a chance to come out and observe a lunar eclipse.